transpiring or going on in Guinea, but would also give us a bit of a background as to what culminated in this coup d'etat that took place at on Sunday, the 5th of September, 2 p.m. exactly. That was when the coup was announced. So he's right here with me in the studios of Love 99.5. Eugene, good morning to you.
David, good morning.
Trust all is well with you?
Yeah, God is keeping us.
Okay. And one other thing that we need to have at the back of our minds that some experts are saying that there's the likelihood for the West African sub-region to witness 2 more coup d'etat by December. That is quite disturbing. Which countries are likely to have this? We don't know, but we'll try and speculate, kakra. At least we're permitted to, aren't we? So, Eugene, good to have you as always.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Let's delve into our conversation. I mean, I know that you've been doing some digging. You've been trying to ascertain what our situation is in Africa by way of coup d'etat. What have you gathered so far?
David, so my presentation is basically focused on the African continent, the narrative thus far when it comes to coup d'etats. Then I'll zoom into Guinea a little bit about their political history. Then I'll also give some reasons most of the coups that we've seen in the last 6 decades, spanning from the 1960s, have been citing as reasons for them, organizing the coups that they do. Then I think finally, as you said, we will try and answer the question that Professor Akuetteh posed to the effect that 2 other sub-regional countries, yes, are susceptible to also go the path that Mali and Guinea have gone. So, Joel, if you project the picture one for me.
Okay, so if he says Joel, he's a man manning our social media, yes, especially Facebook. Yes. And so he's going to be showing you some images, some slides that would help you appreciate the conversation better. So, Joel is at it. So here we have the first slide.
Yes. So the first picture is basically giving you a picture of the coup narrative in Africa when we started gaining our independence from our colonial powers in the 60s. Ghana was the first one in sub-Saharan Africa to gain its independence. Guinea followed in 58. And I'll talk about Guinea shortly. Over 200 coup attempts have been happening in Africa since the late 1950s. Almost half of them have succeeded and some have also not succeeded. So when you look through the chart, you notice that between 1950 and 1959, we are doing a decade analysis from 1950 to 2000.
And we have a graph on Facebook. So join us on Facebook and get to understand what Eugene is talking about. If you're driving or you're in a situation where you cannot watch us on Facebook, we'll understand. But for those of you who can, this graph would enable you to understand and appreciate the conversation better. So you can find us on Facebook on LUV 99.5 FM. That's how you can get us on Facebook and you can enjoy the conversation much better. Yes, sir.
Sure. And the credit of the source or the credit goes to the research done by the Central Florida and Kentucky universities in the United States of America. So between 1950 and 59, you saw that 3 coups succeeded in Africa, 3 didn't succeed. The dark color represent the successful ones, and the one that looks a bit pale are for the failed, are lighter ones. So from the 1960s to 69, we had 25 coups that succeeded, and we had about 15 of them that failed. When it comes to between the 70s and 79, you notice that 17 of them succeeded, and 23 of them didn't succeed. When you come between the 80s and the 89s, you saw that 22 of them succeeded and about 17 of them didn't succeed. Between the 1990 and 1999, we had about 15 of them succeeding and about 23 of them not succeeding. So you notice that the success rates of coups were declining as we move along. When it comes to 2000, about 7 of them succeeded and about 13 of them didn't succeed. When it comes to 2010 to 2019, we had about 7 of them succeeding and about 8 of them didn't succeed. In 2020-21, we had about 5 of them roughly and 1 didn't succeed. I think that is the one for Niger, which was toppled in August 2020. So, Joe, if you can move to the second picture quickly. The second picture is also talking about the countries that have recorded coup d'etats in Africa and the countries that are leading the chart when they come there. For example, Ghana has had 10 coups. When you talk about the 10 coups, these are not just about successful coups. And the graph is on Facebook, so you can join us on LUV 99.5 on Facebook to be able to see the chart. Ghana had recorded 10 coups. Only about 6-7 of them have been successful. The rest are not successful. When it comes to the Sub-Saharan Africa or West Africa, as we call it, Burkina Faso had the most coups, which is 8, because 7 of them have succeeded. Only 1 has failed. But Ghana had recorded about 6 successes. So that is why Burkina Faso leads. But I have the likes of Sudan, which have recorded 15 coups, Niger 7, Chad 7, Burundi 11, Comoros 9. That is little Comoros. It's a bit surprising. Then we had Sierra Leone 10, Guinea-Bissau 10. 8. So this is also the narrative when it comes to countries with the highest number of coups since 1952. Now, David, let me turn my attention to Guinea. In the last 11 months, we've noticed that there have been 4 coups d'etats in West Africa alone. We had 2 in Mali, we had 1 in Niger, which was not successful. Then we had the one on Sunday, which was led by Mamadi Doumbouya, and they toppled the regime of Professor Alpha Condé. A little fun fact before I move on. Professor Alpha Condé was a professor of political science, teaching or lecturing in Paris. So it should tell you the context some of these things are happening.
Well, if you don't know Alpha Condé, you've never seen him before, well, we have a picture of him right now on our Facebook page. He's, 83 years old?
He's 83.
83.
The picture is when he was, overthrown and bungled into one of the military vehicles. So
a couple of pictures actually we'll be showing. One where he was seated, I think, in his home, his residence, when the military went there. And we'll be showing you videos as well where I don't speak French. I just have on pay like somebody say small. But the interpretation is that he was asked whether he's been harmed, whether he's okay. He was not responding to them and all that. So all that is on Facebook right now for you to get to appreciate. But he looks good for an 83-year-old though.
As they have the benefit of the largesse of state and all that. So, David, let me give you some history of Guinea and put the conversation in a context. When you go to Guinea, since they gained independence in 1958, just a year after Ghana gained independence, so it is not strange about the strong political ties Ghana have with Guinea, and also the friendship that existed between their first president Sékou Touré and Ghana's first president Kwame Nkrumah. It's on record that when Nkrumah was sick in Budapest, in Romania, and he finally went to Guinea and died, it took about 3 months for negotiations to happen before his body was released by Sékou Touré to Ghana. That was during the Champon era. It tells you how much they were close. Guinea's first president, as I said, was Sékou Touré. He ruled from 1958 to 1984. That was 26 years of rule. When he died, we had the succeeding president called Lassana Conté, who also came on the scene through a coup. He came on the scene through a coup and also ruled for a while. Then he died, and we have Moussa Dabis Kamara, who also came through a coup again in 2008. His regime was, a lot of bloodshed, pillages, massacre, and all that. So people were not happy with him. He was actually shot, and while seeking treatment abroad, he died. Then there was the elections of 2010, which saw the likes of Alpha Condé, who has been, banished from the country because of his activism. He was lecturing in France. He won the election, and many people thought that he being a professor, he being an academic, a teacher and all that, he would change the narrative of Congo, because Congo is very rich in bauxite and all that. Guinea. It's rich in bauxite and all that. He came in 2010. He was supposed to end this regime because they do the 5-year tenure period. So he was supposed to end in 2020. In 2019-2020, he started what I call the constitutional re-engineering. Then he wanted to seek a third term. We saw the elections that was held in October 2020, where we had nearly 24 people, actually 23 of them dying because of the disagreements with the processes of the referendum and the preceding elections. So he was sworn in for a third term. David, let me give you also a little bit about the soldier. Mamadi Doumbouya is also from the same ethnic group as Alpha Condé. And the reason why this is important is that if you check the African narrative, ethnicity plays a very key role when it comes to some of these happenings. He was part of the French army in France. He came on the invite of President Alpha Condé in 2018 to lead a special force. And David, you should notice, this special force was the one to protect the president because he was doing what I call the constitutional re-engineering.
And he was scared. He was afraid that some of these things, because he had people who were opposing what he was doing.
Exactly. And it turns out that this is the special for that overthrew him.
And if you don't know this Doumbouya guy, Lieutenant Colonel Doumbouya, we have him on Facebook right now addressing the country, Guinea. And I don't know whether I still have that picture of him when he was standing right behind, Alpha Condé, holding an umbrella, in public. So you say, Abobi Bekawa. No front tomorrow. Yes. I don't mind.
You see, David, these coups have retarded Africa's development. When you read through the history and the research, you notice that even from the 60s to the 80s, about 51 of those countries that were independent on the African scene, let's not forget that Namibia and South Africa are just babies. They came on the stream in the 90s. About 51 of them, 36 of them were ruled by military regimes and military juntas. So it tells you that Africans' development have always been retarded because of some of these happenings. Indeed, when you listen to some of the reasons these coups are mentioned, and introduction.
And yes, I did mention some in my introduction. This is one area I want our listeners to pay particular attention to, because it's not just about what Doumbouya and Co have said about Guinea as to what led them to overthrow Akuetteh's regime, but it's something that we've heard over and over again. So what are the reasons again?
So, David, the reasons are numerous, but I've decided to limit myself to 5 of them, which, you glee some of these reasons in even present day in democratic Africa. For example, the first one they cite is corruption. Corruption by public servants, by the president, their appointees. 2, also flagrant profligacy and obstinacy by African politicians and appointees. Those are the reasons they cite. Poverty and deprivation of the masses. They always compare how the extravagant lifestyle of the leaders and the deprivation of the people, the masses. They also the abuse of fundamental human rights. And the 4 is also present in Guinea, because if you notice, just yesterday, some political people or politically aligned people who were arrested because of the activities of Alpha Condé were released by the military.
Some 80 of them. Yes. We're told that a few more will be released in the
today,
coming days.
Yes. Yeah. And also the 5th thing is what we are seeing, what we call the third termism, where most of these presidents re-engineer the constitution for them to seek third terms. So that is also the narrative you are seeing. So 5 reasons: corruption, profligacy of power, poverty and deprivation, abuse of human rights, and the re-engineering of constitutions for a third term. David, let me end with the third picture, Joe. So if you notice, Ghana's CDD, one of Ghana's foremost civil society groups, have been doing what you call the Afro-barometers, where they ask people various questions on the development and governance narrative in our countries. David, the chart on Facebook is showing the percentage of Ghanaians who say they disapprove or strongly approve of military rule. You notice that in 1999, those who disapproved the military rule was 88% of the respondents of that survey. When it comes to 2002, it came down to 83%. When it comes to 2005, it came down. It was in equilibrium. You notice for 3 years, 83%. Then when it comes to
2002, 2005,
yes,
83% said they were in disapproval.
Yes, they were in disapproval. When it comes to 2008, it reduced to 78%. When it comes to 2011, it shot up to 86%. When it comes to 2014, it came to the lowest. Then, that was 72. Then it maintained the 72 in 2017. Then it reduced further to 69 in 2019. So clearly, when you look at this chart, it's saying that the confidence people have in the democratic institutions in Africa and how Africa is being governed by the so-called democratic principles is waning. And clearly, African leaders, the 56 of them, have to be paying attention to some of these indicators, because you clearly see that from 99, from 88%, we came down to about 69% in just about 20 years. So clearly, it tells you that the confidence people have in our democratic institutions and all that is waning. So, David, these are some of the...
Now, let's have some small chats, and we'll be activating the phone lines. And on the show today, we just want our listeners to tell us their own thoughts of the happenings in Guinea.